swear this background gets uglier every time I... Oh, good day. I didn't hear you click. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Doe, your resident expert on everything arguable on the internet. Mouthful, huh? Today's topic is a relatively new one to the internet society. But I felt I had to get my 2 bits in early and hopefully open up some narrow mindsets. Before too many misunderstandings and misconceptions can take root and keep us from doing the right thing for everybody overall. This topic is, apes should be allowed to receive an education. I'll give you a moment to stop laughing and compose yourselves. Better? Good. It hasn't escaped me that since this is a recently broached topic in the more western part of the world, that most would find this rather laughable. But this is a topic that has been floating around the more third world and less developed areas of the world for quite some time, and it's clear we need to start taking it seriously. To kick us off, I'm going to start by demolishing the first misconception most people conjure up when they think about apes attending school. That being of a gorilla or chimp sitting at a desk learning as we would learn, subjects similar to the ones taught today, and that the government would deem most important to them. But this is furthest from the truth and can only exist in fiction, as this method of teaching was created for humans and will only work for humans. A more accurate picture would be something akin to an obedience school, such as for dogs, where the subject is given direct instruction and support, ensuring positive behavior results in a controlled and safe environment for them to absorb the information. Ensure they continue to perform these positive actions even outside these controlled situations, and on their own without instruction in response to certain situations. It's how guard and police dogs work. Though their bodies are bred to meet the physical needs they are trained for, each generation still needs to be trained for that purpose. Reactions and communication are not passed through genes, after all. They are taught generation from generation based on trial and error and positive results. Should a school be put into operation, it'd be more along the lines of a low-scale training facility with a few handlers for every dozen students. First built and used in zoos and some select parks, where there is a great deal of control, until enough is learned about how it should best be done before the operations move to less restricting and confined environments such as national reserves. At this point, you're most likely thinking, why? Why should I care? Why do they need to learn? Why should I keep watching this video? Because lives and livelihoods are at stake. And I don't just mean the lives of the apes themselves, but also any individuals they may come in contact with. For the last decade or so, there are increasing reports of unprovoked ape attacks upon those in closely residing rural areas to reserves and parks that house apes. Those that stop here and try to use this point as an argument on why this project shouldn't go through only proves that they don't care about the topic to begin with, and therefore shouldn't be listened to. Please don't listen to them, please. As in most of these cases, these attacks are taking place in areas that have recently come into peace after war, and or are having their landscapes severely cultivated or developed. This is extremely important in understanding the cause of these attacks, as during these times, these apes were subjected to extreme terror and abuse by not only soldiers from both sides, but also workers and poachers who invaded their land for their resources and for the creatures themselves, capturing, torturing, and killing these creatures for little to no reason aside from whim, using them for the occasional meal, as punching bags, or even the rare black market sale. Like we don't have a hard enough time keeping them alive to begin with. This, combined with loss of habitat, has made us their worst and most deadly enemy in every sense of the word. In less than a decade, we as humans have taught these creatures that we are their deadliest predators. An ideal that is quickly spreading throughout the entire species and even starting to be seen in others. It's clear that even in these wild apes that some form of resentment, or at least conscious planning, or recognition is present, as this behavior is never before seen in apes. The purpose of these educational centers, should they be put into operation, is to teach these misinformed apes first and foremost how to recognize and properly deal with humans. Which are bad, which are good, those that will hurt them, and those that can help them, along with how better to deal with increased human interaction and influence in their daily lives. This will not only protect both parties when it comes to human interaction, this will also assist in keeping track of the ape population and learning more about their behavior and their daily lives. The operation itself would consist first and foremost in teaching them a form of communication. Sign language is a common practice in research participating zoos, in order to test intelligence and perform other tests with apes more easily. This often has to be done at an early age, not only to find those of the capable mental capacity, but also to make it easier to train those in younger generations, as some of these skills are passed on and taught outside the trainer's influence, through those they taught. This is another advantage to these schools. Youngsters are taught how to survive and communicate not only by their mothers but also by the entire troop. What's to stop them from teaching and passing on sign language or teaching them about human machinery and other life-saving information? By now you're probably wondering how this would be done. As you might already know or might have picked up on earlier, similar operations are already underway in zoos and certain reserves across the world, where the reaches of apes' intelligence is being tested in controlled environments. These operations often involve apes that have been abandoned at young ages and had to be raised by humans, making them incapable of being returned to the wild, but perfect for testing the reaches of the mind, as these individuals are faced with more problem-solving situations than survival situations in their early years. This may make some question the effectiveness of training wild apes when it's clear that similar training cannot be taken, nor will it be effective until long-term benefits are seen. Again, because the younger generations are taught by the whole troop and not just their mother, to learn a majority of the required information before they even enter monitor training. The entire course can be covered and retained before an infant even reaches their first year, and if predictions are correct, be spread to other troops not in direct contact or being trained under this educational program. Much in the same way that this mentality and belief against humans is spreading right now, this training of course will be performed by trained professionals, including behavioral, educational, and caretaking specialists, likely performing research along with educating these creatures. After of course enough is learned about how apes learn, now best to teach them from experience in more controlled settings, such as zoos and reserves, before placing them into operation with wild apes. I know most won't like the solution since it will cross several generations and is very time consuming. But try to find condolence in the fact that an average ape's lifespan, no matter the species, is often no greater than 1/3 of our own. I hope you've all learned something today, and will consider this topic in a different light with the information that I've provided. And when the time comes, you will be able to support and live with the decision of which side you stand on.